I got the tea in me going back to back. What's up, my dudes? All right, so let's get in here and talk about this whole new track editor, elevation, all this kind of crazy stuff they're talking about, this new track editor on MXGP 2020. Everything I'm going to be talking about in this video is coming straight off of their actual website, so this is exactly what they're saying on their website about it. There's definitely some gray area here. There's definitely some, you just kind of got to, I don't think anybody really knows exactly what it's going to mean or what it's really going to be like, so it's all in how you want to kind of interpret what they say on their website, you know what I mean? Height map based track editor. A new touch of realism for your tracks. Choose between 4 different terrain types. Use the height maps to create the track of your dreams in a realistic way through hills and mountains. Share your creations or download new ones. This is, I don't know how to think. So they say height map based track editor. Okay. So this is kind of trying to make it seem like this is going to be a full-blown, MX simulator, height map based track editor where you can go in there and design every little bit of the terrain. You can build all little aspects of the track, build the track literally any way you want. That's what a height map based track editor is. But you got to see, this is a very loose, okay, you got to pay attention here, guys. And I could be totally wrong with this. But what this sounds like to me is you're going to be making like the elevation of the whole track with this height map based sort of thing where you can raise up the terrain over here and lower it over here. But in reality, when you actually get to it's like you build that at the beginning, right? You build your elevation at the start of building the custom track. And then you go in there and it's like, boom, you're like back in that normal, MXGP 2019 style track editor with all pre-made, pieces that you're placing down and all that kind of shit. This is interesting because I don't know if they mean height map like you literally build the entire terrain everywhere. You can build your own little pre-made ruts. You can build your jumps however you want. It says use the height maps to create the track of your dreams in a realistic way. Through hills and mountains. Through hills and mountains. Okay, you got to understand what this is critical right here, guys. And I could be wrong, but I'm just saying the way this looks, they say height map based track editor, but in reality, it's really just a elevation height map, track editor. It's not build the entire track from a height map, like raise, lower, like as far as on the actual, track, like pre-made ruts, raise and lower your pre-made ruts, make your own little individual roughness, make your jumps however you can imagine them. I still think this is you've got pre-made pieces that you're going in there and sort of placing down on top of the elevation that you've built. But it's still pre-made pieces, because if you look here, it says, use the height maps to create the track of your dreams in a realistic way through hills and mountains. I feel like if you were able to make any jump, any kind of way, make ruts, from a height map, like raise, lower, smooth, all those kind of tools that you would have in an MX simulator track editor or a reflex track editor, I feel like if it had that kind of power, it would show that here. You understand what I'm saying? If they were giving you that full-blown, PC level track editor, the true height map based track editor, I feel like they would actually show that better here. And it just doesn't really seem to be, it just says through hills and mountains. So it has me thinking that you're going to be able to like raise and lower your hills to sort of give you a little bit of a up and down elevation on the track, but that I feel like once you adjust that, then it's just going to throw you into this normal milestone track editor based thing where you're just going right back to the pre-made module pieces. The choose between 4 different terrain types, yeah, that's cool. Again, should have been in there from the very first Supercross track editor. You would expect different terrain types, certainly in a motocross track editor. So, yes, these things are cool. Don't get it twisted, right? Elevation and different terrain types. These are all cool things these are all things they've needed in there for years now. This is not like, oh, wow, okay, cool. They're adding this new it's like all this should have already been in there. Yes, we expect this. Yes, it's just it's so expected, right? If you've known Milestone, it's they always do something 2 or 3 games after what you expected it in. So for people like me that's really been playing all these games, looking into everything that they're doing, getting into it, it's this is nothing even new to me, right? This is yeah, of course Milestone is going to add different terrain types and elevation to their track editor 4 games after they introduce their track editor. Of course they are. They're not going to put it in their first track editor. No, Milestone wouldn't do that, right? So either way, I'm just saying, I don't know what this means because they don't really explain it, really. Use the height map to create the track. See, they make it sound like they really do in a way. It's like they're creating this gray area, right? Where you could dream and imagine. It's this height map track editor where you can build any rut you can imagine. You can literally go in there and fine tune every little jump in any kind of pitch and way that you could possibly want. Make any kind of terrain you could imagine. Manipulate the terrain in any way you could imagine. The track of your dreams, right? But in reality, mark my words, when we actually get to the game and get to the track editor, I don't think it's really going to be a true height map based track editor. I really don't. This game is going to be on a console still. So to be able to get that level of a track editor in a console, put 2 and 2 together, I don't see it happening. I think it's going to be a system of raise and lower basically in, 4 or 5 or 6 different quadrants around this box area that you're building the track in. So you can raise and lower it 5 or 6 different clicks in all those different areas so you can create this sort of mountainous type shit in a way. But I don't think it's going to be as wide open and free of manipulate the terrain anyway. I just don't think it's actually going to be like that because it specifically says through hills and mountains. It doesn't say make your individual jumps with the height map track editor. It doesn't say make your individual own ruts and roughness and ruts going up jump faces and all. It doesn't say any of that here. So it's kind of like they leave that up for your imagination, right? But that doesn't really mean it's going to be like that. So all I'm trying to get at is don't get too overhyped about this one particular aspect of it. They're trying to make this the biggest aspect of the biggest new aspect of the entire game. It's the only new thing I'm actually seeing. It's the only new feature I'm actually seeing in the entire game so far. I'm just saying, don't let that distract you from everything else that's going on, and don't let that try to get your hype level up above what it really should be for the game, right? But if it does go down this whole road of where it's still basically you're building the track out of pre-made module pieces, they had better have way more motocross specific type track module pieces than what they had in MXGP 2019's track editor. They got to have way more than what they had in that. Way more. I'm talking inside rut option, 3-4 different pre-made rut option in damn near every single corner module piece, all different kinds of roughness module pieces, right? And that's you start to get into those limitations of this module piece placing track editor because you can't put roughness through a corner. You can't put you can only fit so many roughness module pieces in between other pieces, so it really limits you because you can't really put module pieces over other module pieces and overlap roughness on top of other module pieces or ruts on top of other module pieces. So man, they're gonna have to figure out something on that because that's really restricting the vibe on that for sure. But I just hope they have a lot more actual full-blown motocross style module pieces, you know, actual roughness and not just whoops, big motocross berm corners, ruts, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some ruddy like jump face module pieces or something would be pretty cool, but all different kinds of size tabletops, you know, more like motocross style jumps versus just a bunch of supercross style jumps. They really need to get that going, man, like no doubt about it. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one. I just wanted to come here and make a video on this and talk about it. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.